Welcome to the True to Success podcast, a space created to help you slow down, reset your mind, and realign your life from the inside out. This podcast is about real growth, not pressure, not perfection, but clarity, responsibility, and personal power. Here we talk about identity and purpose, letting go of what you can't control, building emotional awareness, strength through humility, and learning how to move forward without losing yourself. True to Success is coaching, not preaching, conversation, not performance. Each episode is designed to help you breathe, reflect, and take ownership of your next step, one honest moment at a time. This podcast is led by Dave Shelton, motivational speaker, life coach, and founder of True to My Soul Enterprises. Dave's work focuses on emotional regulation, personal responsibility, inner alignment, and helping people build lives that feel grounded, intentional, and true to who they are. To learn more, explore additional reflections, and continue the work beyond the podcast, visit www.truetomysoul.com. That's TRU2MYSOUL.com. That's truetomysoul.com. Now settle in, take a breath, and welcome to the True to Success podcast with Dave Shelton.
Hey, so welcome back to the True to Success podcast with your host, Dave Shelton, which is me. I am here, and I am here to be your coach and to be someone to be able to help you find your peace. So as we would start the show any other time, I might start it a little different today. So let me get to the opening segment, right? Where I say to you, this is your space, your place to breathe. Let's do that one more time. Breathe. Reset. And to step into your power. Now, today is going to be a hard show, but not for you. It will be for me because I'm going to explore and talk about some things in which I'm not all that or I've never really been comfortable. And for me to do it this way will probably be the best way of doing it, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but I'm willing to do it today. So bear with me if I go around and maybe change subjects here and there, as I've been accused of those that are close to me that will say, what did you really want to say right there? And I'll be like, well, because I'll speak in riddles at some point when I stop feeling comfortable. So let me start it off by saying, when I was a kid, I grew up in church, and my early childhood, my adolescence, to early adult, to being a full grown adult with children, I grew up in church. Those that know me they know that I grew up in church, but they don't know the extent of it. And it's very extensive. Let me say that at a very young age, I would sing a song from our church that spoke and gave us all an understanding of what we believed. Okay. For an example, the song I would sing it went something like this. We don't believe in dum dum da da da. And I don't remember all the words. And we would say, we don't believe in da 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 da. We don't believe in the blah, and we don't believe in the blah, but we believe in the bid, but body did blah, right? Right. And it don't really make a difference what we said, right? But I remember being 3 years old and singing that song. Now, to some people, that might not mean a lot. But to some people, that means a lot. And here's my point. And I really don't care how long we take today, but I really want to make sure that we don't take too much time, because I want to say to you, at 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, I'm singing what I believe and don't believe. At 10 years old, at 11 years old, 15 years old, 17 years old, I am still singing what I am supposed to be believing in. 20 years old, 20 years old, 29 years old, singing, believing in at 32 years old, 35 years old. Now I'm singing what they believe. For some, it's not such a big deal. For some, it's a huge situation. What if I told you that when you were born into this world, you already had everything you needed to become who you were meant to be? Not the success, not the money, not the answers, but the alignment of who you were meant to be, a natural sense of who you truly are. Now, let me ask you another question. What if the confusion that you might feel today isn't because something is missed or missing, but because you picked up too much along the way? Stay with me just for a moment. I want you to imagine something for a second, and it's going to be hard to talk about these things. So if I'm stuttering, please just overlook me. But imagine this. Imagine you're walking through this forest, and as you walk, there are these little bitty sticker burrs. You know, those little things that are on those flowers that cling to your clothes. Imagine while walking through the forest, you brush up against a few. And at first, it's just maybe one or two. You don't even notice them along the way. But the longer you walk, the more you collect. They start to stick to your shirt, start to stick to your pants, start to stick to your shoes. And the more you start collecting, the harder they are to remove. So life works the exact same way. As you move through life, you brush against people, parents, your teachers, your friends, your church, your culture, your relationships. Without realizing it, you start picking up those, or you start picking up their opinions, their ideas, their fears, their beliefs. You don't mean to. They just stick. And at first, it doesn't feel like a problem. But over time, the more you collect, the heavier it gets. And here's the part that most people will miss. And I'm saying most, but a lot people miss. The more you start to carry, the less you could feel yourself. The more opinions you wear, the harder it is to remember who you truly are underneath all that stuff. Now, that's not weakness, that's conditioning. And this is where your chasing begins. See, chasing starts to happen once you lose touch of who you truly are. To me, I feel like it's almost as if you abandon the thought process or the God process in which you were given and abandon that in order to chase the approval of others. This is hard for me to talk about because there are labels that come along with a lot of different things, especially when you deal with religion. And I'm choosing not to label at all any longer. I know that when I figured some things out of what I was dealing with, it was too late because prior to figuring it out, I had gotten angry and didn't understand how to process those particular feelings. But what I realized is that I was chasing approval. You start doing that, you try to chase an understanding, you start chasing validation, you try to explain yourself, you try to prove yourself in the midst of all that stuff, and you also try to fit. It's not because you're broken. I hate when people say that they're broken because it's not that they're broken, they're just searching for themselves. And you got to search for yourself outside of yourself because chasing at some point starts to feel busy. But it doesn't bring clarity to you. It just drains the holy heck out of you. If you don't mind, I would like to just share a little something with you guys that actually taught me this lesson. Yes, there was a season and a place where I was chasing different lives at the same damn time. And on one side, I was chasing success. I was looking for the money. I was trying to work hard at a job that I hated daily. And I was trying to get ahead in that job. And on the other side, I was chasing my calling or my gift. And that was my music, singing, being an artist, being a songwriter. And I loved them both. But at the same time, I was deeply involved in the church. I was a minister, a preacher. Yep, you just got it. And the two places that mattered to me the most was my marriage and my church community. I loved it. So I tried to be everything at one point in my life. I explained myself over and over again. I adjusted to how I used to show up. And I even at my job worked harder. I tried to be understood, even when I didn't understand. But instead, felt like I lost myself even more. I was tired all the time. I found myself hating where I was. I found my body being heavy. And eventually, I stopped functioning. Like, I was in a depressed mode for almost 5 years. Side note, there will be people that will be jealous or envious of certain folk and don't always know that certain people are just functioning. And sometimes you can get jealous of a barely functioning individual. For what? Because you want what they got and they don't sometimes even want what they got. Now back to our show. I did all those things just simply functioning, but I couldn't even really truly function. Then something happened and I realized something very, very important. Let me know I wasn't really truly failing. I was just overloaded. Over years and years and years, I collected too many freaking beliefs that did not belong to me. And the more I chased the acceptance of trying to align myself with those beliefs, I felt less aligned with who I truly was. So something happened to me. About 2007, I made some shifts. I stepped back and I started looking at who I was, started looking at what I was dealing with, started looking at my thought process and what I believed in versus what I wanted to believe in. I knew that I was supposed to believe in this, but I wanted to believe in that. What I seen was that I could never fully be anything outside of who I was supposed to be because the beliefs I was believing in, they wasn't mine. So I stopped chasing. I stopped explaining. I stopped trying to convince anybody outside of myself. I stopped forcing myself to fit, and I chose alignment over approval. That choice was very uncomfortable, but clarity then followed. And I don't care what happens to a person in their lives. If you don't have clarity, you don't have nothing. Because clarity doesn't just show up when you start working harder. Clarity doesn't show up when you're trying to fit in. Nope, that's not when clarity shows up. Clarity shows up when you stop, sit down, start picking off those things that doeth so easily beset you. I had to stop trying to be like everybody else around me. Because what I figured out was I wasn't the only 3-year-old singing the song. As I grew into a full grown adult, I then looked around me and realized we all spoke the same. We all talked the same. We all did the same. We all said it the same way. We all believed in the blah, blah, blah. We didn't believe in the blah, 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 blah. And that's when I started to see that we all was the same individual. Clarity. Clarity played a huge part for me. And here's the truth. I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this. You don't find yourself by chasing more. You find yourself by removing what isn't you. The moment you stop trying to convince people who you are, the moment you stop trying to clear minds about certain thought processes, the moment you stop all that, your body start relaxes. Your direction sharpens and your alignment with who you are feels even lighter because you stop trying to force something that's not fitting. So let me ask you something. And don't rush to it, but Ask yourself that what beliefs are you carrying right now that don't belong to you? What options stuck with you that you never chose? I want you to think about this for a moment, and you can pause this if you need to think about it. But I want to tell you what we told you last week and what we told you the week before, that awareness, the man in the mirror, is how your alignment begins. When you become aware, you wake up. You know, that song that the Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes used to sing, wake up, all the people, time to teach a new way. Awareness is how alignment begins. So this week, I need you to do something for me. When you feel yourself chasing or looking for approval, trying to get them to understand or seeking for validation, I need you to pause and I need you to ask a question. Is this who I am, or is this something I picked up along the way? Then I need you to choose to release, because clarity respects calm. So echo me, if you will. Let's close this together today. I release what isn't mine. Say it again. I release what isn't mine. Say it one more time. I release what isn't mine. Echo me one more time on something else. I return to who I am. Say it again. I return to who I am. One last time. I return to who I am. Beloved, I want you to know that you are stronger than who you think you are, and more powerful than the ones or things that are around you that may be holding you down. You got this. You got this. This is the True to Success podcast with Coach Dave. I want to let you know that I don't care what you have been through. I don't care what you started when you were a child. You're who you are for a reason. And sometimes you got to take those things off of you to find out who you truly, truly are. And as they start coming off, there are people around you start looking at with a different lens, trying to figure out, how is it that you still believe in the blah, 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 when that's what we were told to believe. And you find yourself chasing after that and losing who you are. Clarity comes when you stop for a moment, like the eagle bird does. He'll stop for a moment and pick off a feather, and pick off his feather, and pick off another feather in order to be lighter on his journey. That's when you find clarity. Awareness puts you in alignment in who you're truly trying to be or who you truly are in life. I don't care if you're 335. Continue to learn who you are compared to who everybody else is around you. And with that, I say unto you, namaste.
As we close today's session, I want you to remember this. Growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens in moments like this, when you slow down, reflect, and choose yourself with intention. If today's episode gave you clarity, perspective, or something to sit with, I invite you to continue the work with us. Visit www.truetomysoul.com. That's truetomysoul.com, where you'll find deeper reflections, tools, and resources designed to support your growth beyond the podcast. If you have questions, thoughts, or want to connect directly, you can email us at info@truetomysoul.com. And if this space has been helpful to you, make sure to subscribe to the True to Success podcast so you don't miss future sessions. Each episode is designed to meet you right where you are, with honest conversation, grounded coaching, and reminders that you're not behind, you're becoming. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, stay grounded, stay honest, and keep doing the quiet work that leads to real success. We'll see you soon on the True to Success podcast with Dave Shelton.